Hello, Sam from Sound on Sound magazine. I'm at Superbooth in Berlin. I'm with Matthew from Norand.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Great, thank you. I'm happy to be here and showing our new synthesizer Mono MK2.
Norand is a new name for me. Where are you based?
We're in Paris, France. We've
Yeah.
been out there for 3 years, quite low profile. This is our first Superbooth and our first show in general. So even though this is the second version of the synth, a lot of people never have heard of the first version. So
Okay, cool. Well,
we're going to
I
start
always
fresh.
like a synth that flies under the radar. So tell us about the mono then.
So Mono is on the surface is what you would call a basic baseline synthesizer. But when you dig deeper, there's a lot of cool features, creative features, sound design features. The sequencer is extremely powerful. It will be hard to tell everything in a single short video, but I try to explain what makes it different.
So is this a pure analog synth or a hybrid?
It's pure analog. The envelope and modulation are digitally generated and fed to the CPU inputs internally.
Okay, cool. So what sort of architecture does it have?
It's two oscillator. You've got it's through zero modulation from oscillator 1 to oscillator 2, synchronized art sync. You've got one filter. And what's important is that all the controls are continuous. You don't have switches for the filter type or for the waves. It's under a knob, and you can continuously switch from sinusoid to triangle to square and then sawtooth. And same for the filter. You can switch. You can continuously go from band pass to low pass and then high pass.
Wow, so it's a lot more versatile than it seems at first
Yeah,
sight.
and that's just for the analog part. Every single parameters, so those continuous wave I was mentioning, the frequency of the filter of the oscillator, everything has its own modulators. So you just have to touch it, the parameter will be selected, and then you can set up either the envelope or the X modulator of that parameter. So if I start the pattern here, select the filter, for example, I can quickly put an LFO on that filter. If I want an envelope on the oscillator 2 frequency, I just select it and then turn up the envelope. This is just very straightforward. It's a very spontaneous way of doing complex sound synthesis, and you can do pretty much anything, like drums, basses, leads, some sort of crazy glitchy sound. The modulator goes to audio rate as well, so it gives even more kind of different sound you can do with it.
And do you also have external modulation in sources?
No,
So there's no
no,
CV gate?
yeah, we the idea was that with all those modulation in there, not necessarily important to have even more sources.
So how does it talk to the outside world then? It's MIDI and
Yeah,
audio output?
absolutely. You get MIDI, one audio output. You get USB. That's on the second version. You get a device port and a host port, so you can connect another synth or you can connect a controller or anything. The idea is that we'll talk about that a bit after, but the keyboard is expressive. Those are 3D sensors, and in the future product of Norand, they will all have this, and it's generating so much data, like an MPA keyboard cannot go through MIDI. It's too much. So in the future, you'll be able to chain our synthesizer just with USB and get the throughput you need to transmit those MPE data.
And is there a sequencer built in as well?
Yeah. So the sequencer is what's really making it unique. Actually, I was mentioning the contextual modulation, but the sequencer is extremely powerful. So you get 64 patterns per project, maximum of 64 steps. You get a lot of randomization features, so you can randomize the notes, you can randomize the patch. Actually, you can record everything, automation. As I was mentioning, the keyboard is sensitive to each axis, so you have the aftertouch, the pitch bend, and the Y dimension. So if I enable it, I can play with the filter with the Y dimension, and it's completely reassignable. So you just keep one button pressed, and you can assign it to any parameters you want. And this will become important when we release it next month. We will integrate the features that's high resolution automation. So right now, on most hardware scenes, when you record automation, it's quantized to the step. With MK2, we have a lot of more processing power, so we are able to record automation as you play it. So really smooth automation following like either the knobs or how you play expressively with the keyboard. And you will be able to record those automation and edit it because the strip here is also touch sensitive in all the dimensions. So you can, for example, you will be able to just here we can draw on it, and we will be able to draw automation, move your automation point up or down, left or right. So it's the idea is that you have a hardware synth, small form factor, but you get all the features that you can imagine on a DAW, for example, and all analog as well.
And you don't need to have it hooked up to a DAW to do all that editing.
Absolutely not.
Oh,
It's
fantastic.
all in the box, and it's all very spontaneous. You can focus on the music and not be bothered with menu diving or those kind of stuff. No displays, just making music.
Very, very impressive. So you say this will be available next month.
Yeah, at the end of June, worldwide.
Do you know how much it will cost?
$840. So $840 in the US, €840 with in Europe.
And you don't have a power cable connected. Is it powered over USB?
This is actually the power cable.
It is it's not the USB cable.
It is USB, so it's
Yeah.
USB-C. It can be powered by a computer. There's even a low power mode for old USB cable that doesn't deliver enough power. The LED will be less bright, but you can. So if you have an old laptop and you're traveling, you can just connect your headphones and make music with it.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, incredible. Well, thank you for showing us that. That's really interesting.
Thank you
Lovely
very
to meet
much.
you.
Glad to meet you as well.